What's up, everybody? This is Skylar Sell with the A Plus Mental Podcast, and this is my first episode. So expect a little bit of choppiness, a little bit of maybe unprofessionalism. Just being honest with you guys. But yeah, I want to start off with introducing myself. You're probably wondering who I am, right? What's my credibility? So I want to let you guys know. I grew up in Porterville, California, small town kind of come up, and did my stuff, graduated high school. School wasn't really my thing, so I decided, how do I get myself out of this small town? And for me, that was the military. The military was the answer. So went through the different branches. The Army was, the one that kind of took me in, made me a part of the team. So joined the Army at, I don't even think I was 19. I might have been 19 at the time. It was back in 2012. So from 2012 to 2020, I was serving in the United States Army. That's 8 years, 8+ years of service right there. So I do have experience in stressful situations. I do know how to overcome those situations. I do know how to prevent those situations. Just being completely honest with you. And since leaving the military in 2020, I've been in many different sales jobs. So, I've dealt with those stressful situations and overcame those, not all of them, but I've overcome most of those as well. So, just to speak on, my credibility and stuff like that, if you guys had any questions. But, yes, what I wanted to speak on today was the term quiet quitting. Since being in the military and coming out, obviously dealt with my frustrations just like I'm sure you have. So I wanted to speak on the term quiet quitting. And it's not really what it sounds like. It's not quitting at all, really. Quiet quitting is simply, say I'm doing something on my laptop and I'm supposed to be out of here at 5 o'clock. I'm going to leave, shut my laptop off, and I'm going to leave at 5 o'clock. I'm going to do what's asked of me, and that's it. I'm not going to go above and beyond. That's what quiet quitting is. So it could be a little confusing as to, what quiet quitting is. But just kind of a few examples of what it is right there. So it's basically, doing, I don't want to say the bare minimum, that sounds bad, but it's doing what's asked of you and that's it. You're off at 5, you're off at 5. You're not staying till 5:01. So a few different kind of things have been spoken on, right? And I think it's honestly the culture of jobs wanting to overwork you but not pay you for it, right? I think that's like the base of, the term quiet quitting, is that people want to do the bare minimum because they realize in today's day and age that jobs aren't going to pay you for doing extra. And I understand this because, like I said, I come from a military background. So in the military, you're not an hourly employee. You're, basically a salary employee, but even then you're not getting paid well. So the military, what they do is they get everything out of you. They'll get absolutely everything out of you. They'll work you from 4 a.m. to midnight if they have to. You're not an hourly person. So they're going to get what they want. And they're going to make sure you're there until the job is done. And that's just the way it works, sadly. I'm not going to take pride in that or say that's a good thing or that makes sense, because it makes no sense at all. But yeah, so coming from the military and then moving into sales, it's it's more of the same stuff when you get out of the military. You're in the, you're doing a sales job or whatever. What does that job want you to do, right? If you just do the bare minimum in a sales job, you're not getting much. So they want to, hang it over your head like, oh, well, if you put this and this and this together and do this amount of extra work, you're going to make all this extra money. You're going to make all this money that you're wondering about. But that's not the case, because the pay never amounts to the amount of work that you do, the amount of man hours that you expend. They're not going to pay you for that. They'll give you a little bit of extra as far as sales goes, but that's about it. So it's definitely about the culture, as far as jobs are just going to overwork you. And people are starting to realize that. They're overworking you, but they're not paying you. They're not paying you for that that extra amount of tasks that you're doing. So this is where quiet quitting comes into play. And I don't want to date back to the military too much, but I also think it's kind of a culture of people wanting to be good employees. I want to be a good employee, so I want to do the above and beyond. I don't care about spending time away from my family, time away from my friends, time away from doing the things that I love. And that's what happens a lot, right? These kind of things pull you away from your family, pull you away from your hobbies. And that's what they do. But people use the excuse for allowing it. The excuse is, I want to be a good employee. But is being a good employee worth you missing, milestones in your kids' lives? Parties, birthdays, holidays. Is it honestly, is there any amount of money that's worth missing those things? Because I've missed a lot of those things. I missed a lot of those things, not thinking, hey, I want to be a good employee, but just I missed a lot of those things because I just wasn't allotted the time to go and experience them. So I've been there. But I've also been on the outside where my military time affected me, because it makes me feel like I can't call out without a legitimate reason. I can't just not come to work because I don't feel like it today, And would I love to do that every now and then? Of course, I would love to not come to work because I just don't feel like it. But that mindset of being someone that is overworked and demanded all this time to do this and that, like being that person, I feel guilty. I feel as if I'm doing something wrong, allotting myself extra time to just maybe mentally reset. And I like that. I like that term, mentally reset. I know I seen I think Nike had shut down like a bunch of their offices for like a week to give their employees a chance to mentally reset. I love that. I think no matter what job you work in, whether it's small time job, big time job, corporate, you're a manager, you're just a grunt, just an employee doing whatever you got to do to get by. I don't care. I feel like people need time off given to them so that they can just mentally reset. So I do love that. I love hearing that. I love knowing that there's companies out there, probably not a lot of them, but I do love hearing that there's companies out there that are doing that for their employees. It makes a lot of sense, and there just got to be more of it out there. So I just want to, sorry, I'm kind of like all over the place right now, but yeah, I guess I before moving on, I do want to speak that quiet quitting isn't a bad thing. I don't think quiet quitting is a bad thing, but a lot of the media and a lot of news stations and stuff like that are going to portray people making this decision as a villain. They're going to paint you as the villain. They're going to make it seem as if, oh, you don't want to go above and beyond anymore. What's the case? Oh, you want to just be the basic run-of-the-mill employee? Yeah, because that's all you're paying me to be, right? So I just wanted to get that point out of there, that they're going to paint you as victims, or not victims. They're going to paint you as villains, but don't just don't listen. Don't listen. Don't, be intimidated by being called something that you're not. Makes no sense, right? Okay, so next thing I want to speak on, kind of the last thing I want to speak on for this first episode is the term, burnout, burnt out, whatever you want to say. We've all been at jobs where we just feel burnt out. And this is jobs where we can't just leave. We can't afford to leave for whatever reason. Financial reasons, maybe, you have mental, issues, mental blocks that, only allow you to work this job and you're lucky to have it, or personal reasons or whatever. So you're stuck at the job, right? So you start to get burnt out. Everyone starts to get burnt out at one point or another. So these are kind of ways that I've been reading and doing my research on that they think you can cope with feeling burnt out. I just wrote down a few reasons, and I just want to speak on them and then say my part is as far as like if I agree with them or not. Do I agree with these ways to cope? So the first one is map out your ideal situation. So basically, using your imagination or whatever to map out what's the perfect job, who's the perfect boss, where's this job at, what field is this job in, just outlining your perfect situation, your ideal situation, mapping that out, creating it in your head. And I feel like the reason to do that is either you're gonna figure out if this is a job that you need to be in, like absolutely need to be in, or is this a job that you're 100% correct about, that it's not the job for you. It's not where you need to be. So I do agree with that one because it is going to give you a clear-cut answer. It is going to let you know, hey, is this where I need to be, or absolutely not where I need to be. So I do agree with that one. The next one is set boundaries at work. So say your boss wants you to do this, telling you you're going to do this, you're going to do that, then you're going to do this, then you're going to do that. Or the person above you is saying, here, do this, here, do that. You set boundaries. No, that's not my job. That's not my responsibility. I'm not going to do it, right? You're setting boundaries there. I don't agree with this one because it just doesn't work. You can't tell the person above you or your boss that you're simply just not going to do it. Yeah, it's not your responsibility, it's not your task, but you can't tell someone that's above you or supervises you that you're just not going to do it, because it's not going to work out for you. You're going to probably find yourself kicked out of that job, fired, let go, whatever, terminated. It's just not going to work. So I don't agree with the whole setting boundaries. Lastly, look for a sense of meaning. And I've heard this a lot of times. Look for a sense of meaning in the work that you do. And sometimes that's what people, kind of fail to realize when working somewhere. They think they're just working and grinding and doing all this stuff for no reason. There's no method to the madness. And sometimes there is. Sometimes people lose sight of the, what the work they're doing every day means. So I kind of half-heartedly agree with this one, because some jobs do have a higher meaning, but there's plenty of jobs that don't. There's plenty of jobs that just don't mean anything. You're not really making a difference. You're making money, you're making a paycheck, you're slaving away for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours a day, and you're probably not really making a difference. I mean, let's just face it. There's a lot of jobs that there is no sense of meaning to the job. It's just a job that you're doing because you need money. You have to work, right? So I half-heartedly agree with that one, because there is jobs where sometimes people do lose the sense of, why they're doing what they're doing. But not every job has that. So that's why I have to say I half-heartedly agree with that one. So, that's kind of, it's going to wrap up episode 1. So in recap and conclusion, we defined what quiet quitting is. It's not quitting, so get that thought out of your mind. It's not actually quitting a job. We went over kind of the atmosphere, what has driven people to start this, this viral thing called quiet quitting. Why have people been driven to do it? Kind of positive and negative things. Reasons leading up to quiet quitting. We spoke about some different ways that people believe you can cope with it, and if I agree with those or not. So feel free to let me know in the comments and stuff if you agree with those methods of coping. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I introduced myself in the very beginning of the episode. So if you do have any questions, personal questions related to me, feel free to ask as well. I'll answer those. But I hope you did get something out of today's episode, and I hope you guys look forward to future episodes. I'm going to try to do one a week, maybe, two, depending on, things that are happening. But A+ Mental Podcast, please show some love, show some support. It's all in the brain. It's literally all in the brain. You can overcome, you can adapt, you can make the decisions that are needed for you to be your optimal self if you just take a second to calm down, remain relaxed, think positive, and keep your mental state intact. So that's what this podcast is about. I think I have a vast, I don't really want to say vast, but I have a huge amount of experience dealing in, stressful situations and how to overcome those and how to keep your mental on track. So, yeah, I'm here to help you guys. Seriously. I love helping. And that was the realization I came to before wanting to do this podcast, was that I love to help people. And I don't care if it's 1 or 1 million that I have the possibility to reach and help. I just love helping. So that's what this podcast is about. Mental state, me helping you get to your optimal mental state. So yeah, just show some love, like, subscribe, share it, and feel free to ask me any questions that you have moving forward. Thank y'all. Peace.